Hello everybody, been a while since we covered SWIFT blockchain. Some big updates that we're gonna get into, especially from the CEO, Rambo Lamb. It's the key company that he's connected with outside of SWIFT blockchain. You're gonna wanna stick around for that. Consider smashing the like if you haven't done so already. Let's jump right into the material. So the first thing we're gonna get into is Hong Kong sets the stage for stablecoin regulation starting August 2025. Now, listen to this. Pay close attention to this. A lot of you guys saw this thumbnail about the whole thing of ISO 222. So there's kind of like a narrative when it comes to that. Mandates, right, Rue? Mandates. We want you guys in the community to understand that while we put so much focus, even myself, right, about ISO 222 mandates, there's a whole other thing going on the opposite side of the world, in the Far East, in Hong Kong, and even in China, right? So again, keep in mind that as much as we're putting all this weight on ISO 222, which we clearly are, especially our XRPs, or Stellars, and so on, or Quants, there's something big brewing for SWIFT blockchain. By the end of this outline, you will have heard a particular bold statement from me, but you're gonna have to wait to hear about that, because we could just spill the beans on it right now, but it needs to flow. It really needs to flow. We need to bring you guys the receipts, the evidence, and bring it all together for you guys. So Rue and I already reviewed this before the program. We're gonna get into just a little bit of this briefly.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to DCENT Wallet. It's just a few taps. You can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your DCENT Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
Hong Kong, like I said, sets the stage for stablecoin regulation starting August 2025. Put emphasis on August. Moving further down, Hong Kong, they got some stuff going on, but even from Swift GPT News on June 6, again, this is very recent, the Hong Kong SAR government published the stablecoin regulation commencement notice in the Gazette today, establishing August 1st, 2025 as the start date for Chapter 656 regulation. Financial Secretary Christopher Hu noted that this will establish a licensing regime for stablecoin activities fostering sustainable growth in Hong Kong's digital asset sector. Put more emphasis again on the Far East, especially Hong Kong. So again, think about this. In short, Hong Kong's 2025 stablecoin regulation sets a licensing regime aiming to boost digital asset growth, while hailed as a landmark move for sector sustainability. Critics question if delayed enforcement risks leaving the market in regulatory limbo. Well, we're going to get into more of, is this into limbo, or is this actually like clarity moving forward? Now, before I kick it over the Rue, I'm going to show you this next key connector of it all. Lots of SWIFT updates. Okay, SWIFT blockchain. Again, disclaimer for all you new people, nothing against you. This has nothing to do with S.W.I.F.T, right? The messaging system of MT. Nothing to do with that. So, again, emphasis is on China. We know about, for example, Justin Sun, Tron's ecosystem. IRU hold BTT. I also hold the WIN token. Watch this. You guys want to say I'm pumping my bags? Call whatever you want. At the end of the day, you guys are tuning in because you want to see your bags pump as well, right? Absolutely.
Also, something to note about BTT, it's an American cryptocurrency. So if you go look them up, they are an American cryptocurrency, even though Justin Sun owns them. And remember, Justin Sun has already kind of made his presence felt over here by being an advisor of President Trump's World Liberty Financial. So he's already kind of said, you know, hey, I'm down.
Right. But it's interesting, again, whether, you know, it's BTT built here in the United States, again, it's the connectors to China, the connectors to Hong Kong. So where I'm trying to go with this is BitTorrent, BTT is the token, right? Live on Bridgers now. And if you're wondering the date on this, pretty recent, okay? June 5th. So again, you guys in the community said you want a new Swift coin news. Check this out. It's their route of BTT across chains with secure non-custodial execution, powered by smart contracts and aggregated liquidity. No, we're not talking about Stellar with Sorbonne. No, we're not talking about some of these other platforms with smart contract functionality, like, you know, I mine Caspa, right? And Caspa is apparently going to do smart contracts. How cool is that? No, let's actually talk about, believe it or not, ones that are connected now apparently with Swift blockchain that also have cross-chain support, also have the whole thing of smart contract. Examples, right? Again, examples, the ties to China. Now, again, another tie, another one with Tron's ecosystem. Wink Link, okay? I also hold the WIN token. I've been invested into Wink since, I want to say, early 2022. I was thinking it was 2021, wow, but early 2022. Beginning of the major crypto winter bear market, okay? So again, Wink, if you were to look more into Wink, I call it Wink. Some people call it the WIN token. If you look at, for example, Macau, so, you know, gambling tokens over the United States, that's not going to be probably a popular thing to mention nowadays. But let's face it, even with the XRP army, there was the XRP convention in Vegas. You better believe that those casinos are fully aware at this point of tokenization. But again, building out here in the United States, you got to keep in mind what's over there in China with Macau. They already have this infrastructure built. This is where your Wink Link, whatever you want to call it, will stand out. And of course, I hold some of that. So again, we're just trying to point out some of these key things. Let's jump into this next part. And if you're wondering how long ago was this, this was June 6th, okay? So literally just like the other day. On top of that, Swift blockchain, look at this. Mobile app is coming back online. Why would it be coming back online all of a sudden? Now, some people point out, well, that's because, you know, it's just updates and so on. No. If you have a legitimate product, you want to keep that product running, you just come up with an update. Or if it's not working well, what do? Rue? You just roll it back.
Right.
So my thing is, yeah, coming back online. You know, some people say this is a conspiracy, but again, there's some things going on with China in the United States, obviously. I mean, God forbid, like there's a World War III or anything, but you have to keep in mind when Swift blockchain, Swift coin was ripping hard a few months ago. And people were like, I don't know why it's doing this thing. Again, the unbanning of BTC temporarily, the unbanning of altcoins temporarily. People wanted that bridge. Think about it. You want something of convenience. Bridgers is that solution. So look what it says here. You can deposit, withdraw, perform cross-chain swaps, obviously for crypto like BTC, ETH, USDT, and more. Major features now like cross-chain swaps, deposits and withdrawals, AI-powered swap assistance. Don't forget about that term, about that swap assistance. Of course, there's the app. And of course, for us in the United States, we don't have access. We have to use like a VPN to experiment with the bridgers. And we might do that for educational purposes, hopefully soon. I know we talked about that before. But again, even this one, Rue, June 4th. As we get to the next part, why it's important to you, again, do you guys now see a common, how we not lay down the common framework for this? Another example, so we just gave you the first example of Tron, second example of Wink, which is also in the Tron ecosystem. Again, all these ties to like your China and whatnot. And again, Rue pointed out that, yeah, BTT as in BitTorrent is American, but again, your root native blockchain is Tron. And of course, going back to China and so on. So again, another example of a Tron stablecoin, that ecosystem, route USDD across chains with secure non-custodial execution. Powered by smart contracts, again, aggregated liquidity. How long ago was this? June 4th. All right. Interesting to see that. And of course, a little bit of that symbolism back with what Rue was talking about. You know, the dollar, I mean, is that like a snake going up to like a pillar?
Twin pillars.
Twin pillars. I mean, there is symbolism. The other thing I want to jump into, real quick there.
Yeah, go ahead. We got USDD, which is on Tron. We know that Tron also, with USDT, they have a kind of 1-to-1 to digital yuan on Tron. We know Justin Sun has kind of came over here, worked with the World Liberty Financial, so he's hooked up with Trump. So I think Justin Sun's doing what he needs to do to grease the wheels and make sure, hey, Trump, no matter what's going on with you in China, we're good, right? Tron's good, and maybe this pathway is really good for SWIFT, right? Because we know Tim Draper's connected there. We know Draper was a Trump funder. He endorsed Trump, and he funded his campaign. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely that. The other thing I want to jump into is just establishing a little bit more in regard to like Swift blockchain, Stellar, Circle. So USDC is live across major networks, of course, on bridgers. Why? Why all said and now? Well, Max, is because they were building, and now it's just now. Well, I think there's more to it than just that.
Yeah.
I think this is in light of everything that's going on in the world. Personally speaking, I could be wrong, but the timing here is more than coincidental, in my opinion. All right. Again, I'm not saying I have all the answers, but when you look more into it, it's very eye-opening. So, again, USDC Circle is live across major networks on bridgers. Wherever your crypto strategy takes you, USDC moves you with a way that's fast, secure, always under your control. Interesting that they point out some things, right? They point out like Binance Smart Chain, Solana, Optimism, right? But whatever the case be, interesting to see this. And even Kronos, Crypto.com, like I think of, why would they list Crypto.com with things like you're trying to use cross-chain swaps? Well, why wouldn't they use Crypto.com? That's an exchange. So is China going to literally exchange assets? Yeah, through a platform like your bridgers. Get to this next part and why it matters to you. Again, June 2nd on that one. Let's jump over to if Stellar was mentioned, or I should say SwiftCoin mentioned Stellar. Some of you guys point out in the community that they never mentioned Stellar. That's not true. Look at this. Here's the evidence. Dating back to 2018, and I'll show you some more recent years. So you see here, April 22nd, 2018, they mentioned both XRP and Stellar. We see April 24th, 2018, they mentioned Stellar again. You also see here, May 6, 2019, part of their showcase is Stellar pays XLB will become one of the first Stellar org tokens available on Swift blockchain. And like it says, connects banks, payment systems, and people. And soon you will be able to swap it easily to over 160 currencies. That part, Rue, where it says connects banks, what about Chinese banks? What about their bridgers? So again, all these people that bought these cryptocurrencies, whether it's BTC or the altcoins, think about it. You have a ban on that. And it's not just like what we deal with Coinbase, like, oh, Coinbase froze the accounts, or Robinhood froze the accounts. How would you like to have the whole country freeze everything? So as soon as they get word, because you better believe, even though they have, let's face it, their communistic system set up where it's like everything's frozen, there's some Chinese people out there, I'm sure, that are aware of ways to get around it. And so, again, what about the ones, all of them? Because they see here in the news, hey, guess what? It's a complete unban. So they're going to immediately jump to the ones that are going to make it the easiest for them. Hence, your bridgers. Something else we're going to jump into before we get into that part about Stellar. Again, something recent. Some of you guys are like, oh, you're just citing 2018. February 20, 2024, they cite news from Stellar. And then also you see this MoneyGram, right? Stellar. 2023, Avalanche, Stellar. Interesting to see all this. And of course, again, the past. And like you see, more about the whole thing, like February 20th, 2024. Hi, team. We love to invite you to list Stellar in our cross-chain and payment platform. Send us a DM for more info. All right. So this is again, interesting, and Rue's got a part about specifically Swift blockchain, but before we kick it to that next segment, we just addressed Circle. Well, Rue, let's address what? Tether.
Here we go.
Even Tether. And again, interesting, they didn't have to tag Tron, but you can route Tether across ERC20, Binance Smart Chain, Tron. And you even mentioned Solana. But again, Tron. So those examples from earlier, BTT, Wink, and also USDD. Those are three things part of that Tron ecosystem. So clearly there's something going on here, obviously with Swift blockchain and obviously China. How long ago was this? Last week, May 30th. So clearly have an established connection here. Rue wants to point out something here in regard to Stellar XLM.
I think I pointed this out to you guys before, but a lot of you are new. So if you guys go up to the networks that Swift supports,
yes, let's go up to that part.
you'll see here they say they support pretty much every network except for Stellar. Okay, and it's amazing that they support this many networks.
Like they show XDC, XRP, but why wouldn't they list Stellar?
Now, when you go into the coins or the tokens that they support, they do list XLM, which you can see over there
Right here.
by the cursor, like eighth one from the left down,
And the other one that Rue wants to point out.
is the USDC, which for every network that they support a stablecoin for that network.
And I'm highlighting that, and if you can't see me circling that around, it's right next to...
Yes,
some of these other
it's to
ones.
the right. It's the third one down on the third column to the right.
Yeah.
So amazing. They support Stellar too, and we already know with Draper. I'm not sure if you guys heard this or not, but Draper has the Draper University where he's supporting Stellar. You know, new development on Stellar. So there are connections with Swift blockchain and Draper and Stellar, but they're like small and like kind of hush hush, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing we want to pull up is this. So let's take a look at this. So as you guys know, myself and Rue, we have done a few deep dives into Rambo Lamb. There's significance obviously about him. So for one, you know, the whole thing of him being the CEO of Swift blockchain.
Yep.
Well, as we also point out, did you know he's also the founder and he's also a chairman of NABA, which is North American Blockchain Association. Now, the significance of that is this. It's like some of the recent news. Again, I think this is more than coincidental, and this is why Rue and I do these deep dives with you guys. So for one, look at the timeline here. Let's establish pounding this home, because again, if we're talking about ISO 222 and you guys paying attention to these mandates, again, shout out to Coach JV. You know, it's like there's one focus looking over this way. Oh, all this stuff about regulations, ISO 222 mandate. And then over in the Far East, there's this whole other thing. That's why we're pointing this out to you guys. Okay, so NABA is referred to as the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act. It provides critical clarification that non-custodial wallets developers are not money transmitters. Okay, back to what Swift Blockchain was talking about with, you know, custody and wallets and non-custodial, and again, the terminology. So, not money transmitters. This bill provides the legal certainty needed to foster open source development, protect individual contributors, and keep the United States at the forefront of digital asset innovation. I mean, think about it. Bills need to get passed before they could become acts, and acts are basically, it's law. Yep. So interesting to see the definition of this, and where they literally talk about clarity. All right, some states moving forward. I mean, even with, you know, the Mary Jane product, we won't call it what it is because we don't want the channel to get flagged. Like, oh, you guys said this, so you know we're going to flag you. But anyway, with the Mary Jane, if you guys know what Mary Jane is, well, basically with all the Mary Jane stuff, think about how long it took for that to become a federal mandate. All right, yeah, we're talking about blockchain here, but interesting now to see new states pop up on this list. Alabama Blockchain Alliance, Boston Blockchain Association. Again, Boston, city, not a state. But anyway, again, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Florida, Maryland. Again, all these ones tied to blockchain. New Hampshire, New Mexico. You have Texas. Obviously, Texas is going to be part of the mix. Wisconsin. You have, for example, Minnesota, like Jesse Ventura, right? Anyway, Ohio blockchain, and of course Pennsylvania, Utah, and Virginia. That's major, and that's definitely worth pointing out. And again, how long ago did they share this? June 5th, okay? And relevant people. I mean, interesting to see some of these key things. Let's jump into the next part.
Yeah, and with that one too, like think about it, guys. Rambo Land is the founder of the North American Blockchain Association. How big is that for a Swift blockchain? And I think also Underdog Research Channel pointed this out. Christina Chen, who's also really high up in Swift blockchain, I think she's like the COO. She's also a part of this North American Blockchain Association. So very, very huge for the Swift's future.
I 100% agree. I mean, you're not going to see, I don't know if you know of any, actually, I don't know of any project that has somebody of that clout to be connected. That's very big. One more thing to point out, because this was reshared. So Eleanor Terrett, she was formerly part of Fox Business. She's done some things, to say the least, journalist, host, and so on. She points out a notable display of unity. 8 of the biggest crypto policy organizations in Washington, D.C. have issued a joint statement calling on Congress, everybody, to include the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act. Jeez, we've been talking about this since last bull market of these possibilities. It seems like we're pretty close now. So, market structure legislation, the BRCA. The groups, Fund DeFi, Solana Institute, obviously Rue and I cover ZEBEC, but the point is, all these ones say the amendment is essential to protecting software developers and infrastructure providers who do not custody customer funds. Well, then Swift blockchain definitely stands out. How about this? The amendment, originally introduced by GOP Majority Whip and now with bipartisan support from Representative Ritchie from the 15th District of the Bronx in New York, Democrat, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't really matter, is being viewed by many in the industry as a foundational policy safeguard for DeFi developers. The quote is critically important that we don't treat open source developers like traditional financial institutions, one policy lead told me. BRCA draws the line clearly and protects innovation. Seemed like you were wanting to chime in?
Oh yeah, so for me, it's making a distinction so that software developers aren't treated like regulated traditional financial institutions. So this just provides more clarity, so crypto institutions can actually invest in cryptocurrency. So again, I think this just clears more hurdles. So the zero capital gains tax for cryptocurrencies.
Pause for a second. I think the thing is dead.
I think this just clears more hurdles for the zero capital gains tax act for that to be enacted. I think it just clears more hurdles for that. And that's when I think we see institutions really come in full blast into cryptocurrency, because then they will have a tax advantage to invest in cryptocurrency and not have to pay any capital gains tax.
Absolutely. And the other thing I want to point out is the joint statement urges, okay? Like, think about it. Or get off the pot, right? Lawmakers to include BRCA in the Clarity Act. It's literally called Clarity. How many times have we been talking about this since the beginning of crypto winter in 2022? It is so soon. So the House's Digital Asset Market Structure Bill, which is expected to be marked up next week, whether it's on Rue's live show or me doing recordings. I know I need to do more live shows, but I'm doing a lot of content. I think we'll definitely, give you guys some updates in that regard about this, because this is a major big deal. The other thing I want to pull up is this. Again, North American Blockchain Association, NABA, reposted, okay? From Financial Services GOP, the Clarity Act brings long overdue clarity to the digital asset ecosystem, prioritizes consumer protection and American innovation, and builds out the committee's work last Congress. And literally just posted a few days ago, June 3rd. So clearly, I think we had a citation earlier, if I'm not mistaken, about where it talked about specifically August, right? I don't know where the mention was, but it did mention specifically was coming soon for August. And if you think about it, I think I was actually at the very beginning, excuse me. Yeah. Hong Kong sets stablecoin regulation launch for August. So you combine all of what we presented to you guys, while we're paying so much attention to ISO 222 mandate, keep in mind, there's something to be said about this. And again, the way I look at it is every action has a reaction. And there's some big things going on, obviously, with China, the China to U.S. plug. You combine some of these things that we got really deep into in this outline. I'm just going to go ahead and call it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't do this all the time. I got it right with the Jasmine one. I was 100% on that. And I am looking to do a Jasmine video here soon. But what I was going to state is, I think Swift blockchain with the Swift coin that we hold, or if you're thinking about getting into it, again, not financial advice, I honestly think it's going to rip, and it's going to rip hard in August. I don't know if it's necessarily like August 1st, but it's a key time in August. I think this will be another example of, man, nobody knows why Swift blockchain is blasting off. Well, guess what? Shout out to the brother Rue and Underdog Research Channel, and I guess even kudos to myself, the guys who cover Swift blockchain, because we gave you examples of, guess what? Was the unbanning of this. So clearly there's things going on, even with Hong Kong, about regulations. Clearly things going on here. Yeah. And again, the utility is literally called bridgers. So when you think of Swift blockchain, think of bridgers, think of XRP. In the past, I remember one of our first outlines, we said, people were calling Swift blockchain, Swift coin, Chinese XRP. Now It starts to make more sense of why it's called that. It's literally, their utility is called bridgers. So when this thing rips and everybody's like, I don't know why it's ripping, maybe use this video as a reference.
Yep, and quick shout out to also Shook Focus Digital and Rob Mass. Those guys definitely covered Swift. And just to sum it up, guys, I think this is, it's not a coincidence that these guys are clearing the way for stablecoins. We've been talking about it with various shows, how stablecoins are the bridge to Bitcoin, or the bridge to stablecoin, or excuse me, stablecoins are the bridge to Bitcoin, bridge to XRP, right? I really think this sets the stage for stablecoins globally, okay? So maybe it starts here in America, but then next it moves over to China, Hong Kong, Russia, and that's where Swift is going to take its lead.
Yeah, I feel that way too. And of course, obviously, shout out to our brother community, Shook, and also Rob Mass over at Crypto Future 99. Always support our brothers in this network, this space that we're in. And hopefully we don't lose any more brothers. Rest in peace to Will Fix. If you listen to the entire outline, simply do us a solid. What is the code word for everybody, brother?
Let's go with clarity.
Clarity. We'll know that you listened to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and Rue, know what you have, know what you hold it. Research Trumps Flood 110%. God bless you all. And again, rest in peace. Will Fix.
Peace.